Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast. We're number one, not just because I say so, because you say we're number one. We're here with an all-star cast at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. Our man James King in the house from University of Wisconsin. So let's introduce our panel. First, senior producer Kevin Tolbert is here. We got Buck in the house. Charles Arbuckle, national sports commentator, former Indianapolis Colt tight end. We got to get your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts dysfunction here, Buck, in a minute. And UCLA tight end Reggie Walker from Penn State. Mountaineer Mike Freer, the pride of the West Virginia University Mountaineers, who've had an up-and-down week. But first, breaking news from the NBA. By the way, Duke, North Carolina is tonight. I've covered dozens of these games. This is a big deal. This is Tobacco Road. This is the best basketball in the country, if you ask me. But pro basketball has our headlines right now. If you're worried about Kemba Walker going to the Cavaliers, put your mind at ease. Mountaineer Mike, big trade with the Cavaliers, not involving the Hornets.
Yeah, they just came down around noontime. Cavs are sending Isaiah Thomas and Channing Frye and their own first-round pick, not the Brooklyn Nets pick that they have, to the Lakers. And they're going to pick up Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. Real quickly, it's really a dump for both teams. The Cavs get rid of Isaiah Thomas, which just obviously was not working out there in Cleveland. And the Lakers are trying to dump salary, and they were desperate to get rid of Jordan Clarkson, who's got about $26 million coming to him after this season. So in order to do that, they had to probably part with a quality young player in Larry Nance Jr. I'm sure that's not what they wanted to do, but they free up cap space to try and go after the big guys this summer, or the summer after that, they had to get rid of Clarkson.
Reg, before we get into Duke, North Carolina, do you think it came down to not just what Mike said, is they just did not want to give up the Brooklyn pick? From what I heard, Charlotte was adamant, had to be a part of the deal, or else they were hanging up the phone.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you covered, a lottery pick. Chances are that Cleveland's pick, which they're sending to the Lakers, is not going to be a lottery pick. The hardest thing
high
to get,
20s.
Right. So they were trying the Hornets per se, if they were in those conversations, they were trying to get a lottery pick back. Unable to do it. The Lakers had a little bit more they could offer, but the key for the Lakers is Isaiah Thomas and Channing Frye are both coming off the books after this season, so that gives the Lakers even more cap room and more flexibility to go after marquee free agents this summer.
Buck, what do you think? Is this now? We hear LeBron saying, "I'm all in. I'm not going to be traded." Did they get some private assurances that he's going to stay here beyond this year? Is that why they're taking on more salary instead of giving themselves financial flexibility for years in the future?
I don't know if that's even the case, because he and the owner don't get along, and that's gone back for years and years.
Well, he's the coach and GM.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Yeah, he is. But what I'm saying is, here's what even more is more apparent. They placed all of this on Isaiah because he was hurt. Then he comes back. He was a defensive liability, and in a statistical standpoint. And then you watch the game last night. They had him coming on and off for Osman between possessions. So I think it's just one of those things where they really wanted to find a way to say, okay, we're going to appease LeBron. Make sure when Kevin Love comes back, our team can be focused. Isaiah Thomas,
need to get rid of him.
He was a liability,
and he ran his mouth too much.
Well,
that's the other piece of it. You can't be a liability and run your mouth.
Yeah, and you got to be good to run your mouth, and he's not. And you got to get rid of Kevin Love.
I'm not going to put it all on Isaiah.
Well,
I think it's some of both.
I think Kevin Love's there. They should have gotten rid of Kevin Love. They should never have traded Wiggins for Kevin Love to begin with. That's another story. Mountaineer Mike has got the NBA trade ticker up right here. He's going to keep an eye on that. But first, let's get back to Duke and North Carolina. Mike, I got to ask you this. Duke got beat by what I thought was a pretty bad not a bad, but not really a good St. John's team. But St. John's has since beaten Villanova, so that doesn't look all that bad. North Carolina really hadn't been North Carolina, and Duke really hadn't been Duke, but they're still North Carolina and Duke. I still like Duke, and it's at the Dean Dome. You throw the records out, it's Duke and North Carolina. What do you like so far tonight?
It's obviously not only is it the best rivalry, obviously, in college basketball.
Better than West Virginia and Cincinnati.
By a little bit. It's arguably the best rivalry in all of college sports. I mean, that's that big a deal.
Definitely in basketball.
Yeah, absolutely in basketball. It's not even a close second. It really is where you throw the records out the window. This is the first time in 3 years Duke actually comes into this game as the higher-ranked team, which is pretty interesting. My favorite stat, which we always ran for years back during my ESPN days, and it still continues. Over the last 100 meetings, Duke 50 wins, North Carolina 50 wins. The point difference over those 100 meetings, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 lousy points.
So-
it's unbelievable. It's a great
Freer-
rivalry. It's always been a great rivalry. And personally, I expect a high-scoring game once again. These
Yeah.
two teams are averaging the 80s. I don't expect anything different tonight.
So, guys, one of the things that when you do research and you dig a little deeper, and that's a great point, UNC has lost 13 of the past 20 games to Duke, 18 of the last 30 matchups under Roy Williams. And one thing that stands out to me is that Duke is a very good three-point shooting team, right?
Yep.
We have watched them really hit the three and do well. North Carolina, on defense, they have to play that better because if you look at them defensively, they rank so poorly on defense, 324 out of 351 Division I teams. So if you know Duke is going to try to fire the ball from way out, you better stop it. Although Duke is trying to pound it in this year much better, North Carolina's become more of a three-point shooting team. So it's interesting what that's going to provide tonight in this matchup.
And that's why I think to Freer's point, it is going to be a high-scoring game. And to your point, Buck, I'll say it like this. That's absolutely right. Carolina doesn't guard the three ball well. They haven't been great dealing with players in the paint in terms of post defense as well. You know what they're going to do. They're going to throw it in there to Bagley, who's actually a really good passer, out of there, and look for opportunities for him to, A, score the ball, or B, kick out for wide-open threes.
And they'll target Luke May also,
And
too.
Luke May is really the only
Monersville.
big that we've seen consistently play well for Carolina. Look out. If he finds himself in foul trouble, this game could get ugly pretty quick
I agree.
because Duke can shoot it, and they can pound it in the post. And if you're not careful, they got a couple of guys on the wing that'll put it on the deck and attack the rim as well. So it's going to be interesting to watch how this plays itself out.
I always say expect the unexpected in this matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched ACC basketball growing up, even in Texas, when we first got ESPN, and you could watch games over and over. And this is a game that I always turned on along with Maryland when you had Lynn By. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup this week.
Mountaineer Mike, Grayson Allen averages 17 points a game, but is he tripping these days? He's only averaging 9 points January and February.
It's unbelievable. Everything seemed to be just fine with him at the beginning of the year. Like you said, the first 2 months, first 17 games, averaging 17 points, shooting 44% from three. Everything was fine. Duke was rolling. You're right. Last 9 games.
Maybe he needs to trip somebody. Get back in his groove.
It looks like every week it looks like he's trying. There's some sort of
Try to trip
YouTube
somebody?
video. Yeah, it seems like there's always somebody trying to hype that up, overhype it as it is.
Like me?
Like you. There you go. But his last 9 games, just 10 points a game, 34% from the field, less than 30% from three. It's so shocking to see his numbers just drop off like that. And if they really want to win this title, another championship, they're not going to do it in spite of him. They need him.
I'm arrogant and bold, so I'm going to say it like this because y'all know me. I just say it. I don't care. Who's the one guy on these two basketball teams that's built up the most equity as a player that makes plays in big spots for these two teams?
Joel Berry.
If he's not punching, if Joel Berry, if he's not punching a wall.
Who else?
Well,
Grayson Allen.
well,
So
Grayson
I'm going to tell you
Allen,
right now,
yeah.
mark it down. I expect Grayson Allen to go for 20-plus points in this game tonight, and I think Duke wins the game.
I'll tell you another guy to keep an eye on, Gary Trent Jr. He has
Absolutely.
really played well.
The son of the Shaq of the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just what I love about this game, and it's typical of rivalry games. It may be somebody we don't expect on either side that really comes and shows themselves. And I think that's the part why I like to watch this matchup and watch Roy and Coach K battle and do that whole thing against each other.
That chess match. And that's going to be interesting.
The biggest problem for North Carolina is trying to keep Duke under wraps.
Yeah.
When North Carolina holds a team under 79 points, 15-2. When they don't, when the opponent scores 79 or more, they're just 2-5. And the problem is, Duke has been held under 79 points 3 times all year. They just don't. They get up and down and score. And now, can you keep up with them?
Duke.
That's the big question for North Carolina tonight.
The thing about Duke is they can score from all 5 positions on the floor, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah.
All right, 5 seconds, you're inbounding it. Who takes the last shot for either team? Mike, go down the line.
If it's North Carolina, I would give it to Joel Berry.
Joel Berry or Grayson Allen, depending on what team.
Yeah, I think you're right, guys, but I'll say this. The 2 guys that are leading the teams are big guys. You look at Bagley with 21.4 and May with 18.3. They're really crucial So does it go inside or does it stay outside?
All right, real quick, give me a winner and very quick, give me a winner down the line. Starting with you, Buck.
I'm gonna go with Duke on this one. I'm going against the grain. I think, in my heart, I think North Carolina's going to win it, but I'm going with Duke in this one.
I'm going to say, and they're playing on the road, but I'm going to go Duke plus 10 or more on the road.
Wow.
All right, I've said everything bad about North Carolina today, so I'll take North Carolina. 85-82. How about that?
Hey, Fred, if you want to twist
usually-
my arm, I'll go with you too.
I usually go with the home team unless Tyler Hansbrough's playing, and he's not. So I'll go with the home squad. So there you go. Lots more. Plus, we got to get to more breaking NBA news. The dysfunction in the Indianapolis Colts. We got to get Buck's take on that. Philadelphia Eagles. They won the Super Bowl. We'll get reaction for that and more. Who
called that one?
About sports. You did, by the way. I was going to give you your props in time.
I beat you to the
talking about
punch there.
sports from the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill.
That settles the two things there.